And we're live. Welcome to a very special session of Fate's Chosen, where we are. It's called Fourth Watch, where we talk about stuff. It's gonna be good. We've got a good group here. Ren
Got a
is going to be our moderator, asking all them questions. And before we get started, a special shout out, Tony.
Yes, tonight, like many other nights, is brought to you by Campaign Coins, the makers of fantastic coins and metal products for your tabletop adventures, not just D&D. They make things for other games as well. So if you haven't already, make sure you go out and check out Campaign Coins. Pay their website a visit. They are a lovely group from Australia. They're from down under. I cannot do Australian. But yeah.
If you want a really good Australian accent, look no further than your resident Pixel Cat. Yeah, thank you, Tony. Have met these people in person at Gen Con. They are absolutely so wonderful. So tonight, we are asking questions. We have a list from our Discord. If you're not in our Discord, please join us. If you come up with something in the moment, please message it in chat, and we will see what we can get. See if we can get it in the stream today. It's my understanding that we actually have a lot of questions, so
oh boy, do we!
Let's go ahead and get started. Ren, I will officially pass it off to you.
Oh, was I not supposed to be talking? I'm sorry. Oh, geez. All right. Well, this is a professional thing we got going here. So I'm going to start things off nice and light for everyone. All the players at least, and I wanna open up with a great question from resident Eris Sabad. What does everyone think of Sunday friends now that you've had the chance to meet them? And there might be a follow-up. Do you have any suggestions for a group name?
I think one of us might. I can go first. So Leona, I think Leona loves everybody, so I don't know. But I think she sees a lot of similar things in this group that, you know, she kind of had at the very beginning of her adventure, where it's just this group of people that, like, you know, if on the outside doesn't necessarily look like it fits, but somehow it works. And they've been tasked to do big things that seem a lot bigger than them. So I think she, you know, admires that they're kind of, you know, doing the dang thing, as it were. I think a little bit of the, oh my God, these babies wore off after the dragon fight, obviously. I think, I mean, she already had a pretty strong relationship. Specifically speaking, she already had a relationship with Salix and Kendall. I think the bond with Salix is definitely a little more. And next week on Fate's Chosen, you'll get to a little glimpse at the gift or the journal that Salix left Leona before they departed. But with Kendall, I think there's a small part of, she saw Kendall as this kid that needed help, and here he is taking on a huge task from the Raven Queen. And so I think she sees a lot of potential in him, specifically just because she has that before and after perspective. But she adores Dev. Everyone adores Dev. I mean, that's just kind of how Dev is. And I think she has a special place in her for Kiri too, from just that Fae connection that she doesn't really know a whole lot about herself. But sorry, I talked a lot. Leona has a lot of feelings, y'all. Like, I'm sorry.
I would say for Eldon's part, I mean, he didn't think one way or the other at first, you know, just because he's okay, let's go help these people out and then get back to our job. But over the course of the dragon fight and seeing how everyone stood up, did the thing, wasn't afraid, he's got immense respect. for each and every one of them. The way they didn't back down and they were there for each other, and it was he really respected the hell out of that.
I think that Alexander has a lot of respect for Salix. He sees like just I think in the time that they spent together, he saw kind of how she definitely held a lot of just kind of emotional baggage and kind of weight of the group on her shoulders. He still thinks Kendall is a fool, just like a utter fool. But he definitely, I mean, he still respects him. I mean, he ran up and he grabbed the Sword of Cause without a problem, which is something that Alexander couldn't do. So he's like, I mean, sure. I think he still has a lot of curiosity about Dev, but he definitely thinks it's good that he seems to have found a group that they're working with. Yeah. Oh, and Kiri was amazing. I mean, like saw Kiri just come up and hammer jab the dragon. So
Atlas was a little apprehensive of them at first. You know, when he went in, he was like, "So, what are you all bringing to the table?" Not really sure of their capabilities as they are, you know, young fledglings who have not been out there for too long. But at the end, he was fairly impressed and thinks that they will have a tough road ahead of them, but will probably succeed. Probably, maybe, hopefully. And Kendall's a cinnamon roll who needs to be protected.
So, my character doesn't dislike any of them. Dev throws her for a loop because there's just too much. She doesn't like strong. He's too happy, and she does enough with. I apologize. They too happy, and she already has enough issues dealing with Leona's happy, and Dev's happy. Their happy is such a completely different. But overall from the group, I've been trying to figure out how to say it. It's that she's worried for them because she sees a lot of the kind of the group that similar to how her own group initially started out, with these people all trying to just do something good, and watching them, she believes, and she's not right, but she believes that you know, they're getting in over their head in things, and they're perfectly capable of handling it. But it threw her off a lot to see them, all of them, just charge at this ancient green dragon and be the kind of people that she refuses to be.
Heroes.
Exactly. And so it's very complicated for her because she refuses to be that kind of person. She's afraid of being that kind of person. And so to see these kids go and just unashamedly just throw their entirety into it, yeah, she's it's easier to be brusque about everything, and it's easier to lean into the emotions that she's more familiar with than to face the idea that these kids in the like 3 days that she's known them have been better people than she's been for most of her life. So it's a little rough. Doesn't handle it well.
Very interesting sentence that you just say, because I have a follow-up question for you, dear Kate, which is posed by the wonderful Dexara. What is
Okay.
something Kesra would never, ever, ever say out loud about the other party members she is traveling with? Talk about hard to express emotions.
That's a lot of things. There are a lot of things. Okay, let's see. Leona. The closest I can get to the emotional state that she is at with Leona, because it's super, super complicated, is you're right, I guess. Which is, again, not anything she would actually say in person, because Leona would jump on it. And Kesra, again, she's an emotional coward, you guys. It's one thing to swing a big sword at a dragon or at a devil or at anything else, but when it comes to dealing with her emotions and how she feels about people and how she feels about herself, she is the biggest coward, I think, in Camille's setting, just in general. So it's very hard for her to get to the point where she develops these things.
I don't know. Roman Kentigern's a bit of a coward too, so.
He is a little bit.
Yeah.
He's also, well,
Alexander, it's a lot of liking people a lot more than she's willing to admit. Because she does. She likes Leona more than she's willing to admit. She can't bring herself to breach that whole sister topic. She's still trying to deal with her as a person, and also that would acknowledge, like, it's a whole mess. Alexander, she likes Alexander a lot more than she is willing to let on. Yeah, she does. She likes him a lot more than she's willing to admit. She can't tell if it's just because he's comfortable or anything else, but she's also terrified of that prospect of it possibly being more than that, so she's just not thinking about it. It's fine. Eldon, she has a lot of respect for Eldon. She would probably tell him that, though, if they got drunk together, like clap him on the shoulder and then say so. But she definitely thinks that he's more competent than she is at most things. And Atlas, yeah, she would never, ever, ever in her life, you could threaten her with death and she would never say it, but he's right. That entire conversation, he's right. You could literally pull off every single one of her limbs one at a time and she would never admit it. Ever. And I'm gonna add Ray to it because I love me some fancy pants. She would never admit that he's hot because that's weird, but he's hot. I mean, he's hot. But she has a lot of respect for him too. And it's strange because they're very similar in a lot of ways and more than in a lot of personality ways as well. But she's kind of mad that she never signed up for the Imperial Army because she would have been able to serve under him. No, but like literally like as a soldier. Serve under him. And she thinks that he would be an amazing emperor.
Aww.
She would never say it. She would never say it. These are things she would never say. But she thinks that he would be somebody that she would be more than willing to follow into battle, and that in her mind makes him somebody more than qualified to run the country. So anyway, I want to stop talking now because that was a long answer.
Okay,
A question. I'm sorry.
we can accommodate that request. I want to turn to Tony. I want to turn to the Tony and ask the Tony a question. As the newest member of the Fates Chosen, and having recently started traveling with them, what's Atlas's opinions of all these weird people he's with? And is there anyone he doesn't really trust yet? And then, from your perspective, Mr. Tony, how do you think Atlas is fitting in with the rest of the group? And then, if you want bonus question answer, you can tell us how Atlas thinks he's fitting in with the rest of the group.
Ooh, all right. So
I think an
Atlas-
opinion of Ray should also be included, even though he's not traveling with us right now, since you did have interactions and meet.
I did indeed. All right. So Atlas is a bit smitten with Leona. He is kind of the main reason that he did not just start trying to whip their butts the moment they came into the Hopeless Garden. He has found a comrade in arms and brother in Eldon. He is still very iffy on Alexander. He's not so down with all the necromancy. So the jury's still out on that one, and he thinks Kesra needs to grow up, suck it up, and do what needs to be done.
As you said,
Yeah,
to her
yeah,
face.
yeah. Tony thinks Atlas is fitting very well in with the group. He has found kind of his place as kind of the balancing point for everybody. He's not as happy as Leona, and he's not as dour as Kesra. So I think he's kind of that nice yin and yang of the group, where he will do what needs to be done, but he's not going to go skipping down the streets. So, and as Tony, I think Atlas is fitting in well. I was a little nervous at first when I joined the group. And I actually, when I first started playing, I had a whole different personality set for Atlas. And then when it just started flowing, he just kind of turned into this wise monk, spewing out, knowledge like it was an old school B Kung Fu movie. So I think it's going well. Yeah. Yeah, Shane.
Well, perfect. Then I suppose I can follow up with this question for you.
You didn't answer about Ray.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
Ray.
right.
Yeah.
Yep, that guy. He thinks Ray's got a lot on his shoulders, and he's got a lot going on mentally and emotionally with, fiance that just proposes to him perpetually over and over, and a new kingdom and rescuing his mother. And here's this new guy that his fiance keeps talking about. And oh, wait, he kind of betrayed me, but yeah. Atlas knows that he kind of was like, so this information you gave me needs to be shared, and I owe you a debt for this. So we'll see how that turns out.
I want to know how Ray feels about Atlas.
Oh, but also we have the Alexander question about who he trusts and doesn't trust.
Oh, yeah.
About that one.
A lot of everything. So, Tony, why are you trying to impede the royal wedding?
Look, not trying to impede the royal wedding. From where Atlas comes from, people just have multiple romantic partners. So it's like, sure, he's got Sarah, but Leona's kind of pretty and fun too. So, I mean, why not go and try to, woo her as well? Sharing is caring, y'all. So teamwork makes the dream work.
Speaking of weddings, Morgan, this question comes from our good friend Quan Jarlos. When are you going to propose to Kezra, damn it? And what do you imagine Necromancer's wedding aesthetic to be?
Oh, wow. When will Alexander propose to Kesra? I mean, it's not going to be anytime soon, probably. We'll see. I think it would take a very certain set of circumstances for it to happen anytime soon. I have a feeling it might be a close to the end of the campaign situation. We'll see. But as for a necromancer's aesthetic, I mean, you know, Alexander doesn't really dig the necromancer aesthetic. That's why he is always in like crisp duds and like he's prestidigitating clean all the time. Like he doesn't go in for that whole like I'm pale as fuck and black everything. So I think it would go one of two ways. It would either be it's either going to be literally like he's gonna pull a dinner with his parents on her, but like not actually have dinner with his parents, but like just be like, oh hey, look, we're here at the courthouse, we're married now. Or because he knows that that's probably the best chance he's going to get. But he also definitely, like, if he's able to reconcile things with his family, then he's gonna be like, can't not have a wedding with the family. So it might be big and caloric and like crazy. But I think that would be the aesthetic. Yeah.
Okay. Looks like Leona approves. Let's pose a question to Quiet Eldon. We got a handful or pair or so to look at, and we're focusing on the topic of love. So, Eldon, have you come close to ditching your mission and heading back to Val? And if so, or not, what would it take for our staunch, heroic soldier to do so?
Yes, he has. When he thought she might be dead, he seriously considered, I have to go, I have to find her, I have to keep her safe. But his entire life has been duty and honor and blah, 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 blah. And he knew that if he had done that, he would have just felt bad. He'd just been sorry for himself that he abandoned other people. And he has enough respect for her that she can take care of herself. So he didn't, and I don't think he necessarily would. I don't know that he would actually do it. Or if he would, he hasn't considered what it would take. He hasn't found it yet. If that didn't do it, then, yeah, he thought long and hard about that.
Man. Mindy. As Leona, when you become Empress, what would you be like as an Empress? And what would your agenda be like?
I guess it depends on who you ask. A lot of people think I'm the BBEG, so.
Well, I have a question for that later.
I mean, I don't really imagine Leona really being anyone but Leona. I don't think she knows how to be anyone but Leona. I think it just happened to serve her well in court when she was younger. But she's unlike Kesra, she's very like, this is who I am. These are things that I'm good at. I'll do those things. I'll try things that I'm not great at. But I already told, I don't know if I should or could share this, but I already told Camille one of the first things Leona wants to do as Empress. Do you remember this? Can I share? Is that the capital currently is situated very segregated, literal walls separating the classes, and she would do away with that. It's the first thing she would want to do. I imagine her to be very involved, very like she's like, she wants to still be Leona. So she wants to still go and see people. She wants to be involved. She wants to help. I don't know if that would necessarily change. It might change her power to do so. But I imagine we see a lot of the same Leona-esque crap we see now. I don't know if that answers the question.
I think it does pretty well.
Okay.
The Camille, we all know that a DM needs to be able to draw inspiration from a variety of sources to be able to craft a wonderful setting such as the one you have for us. What specific settings have you drawn inspiration from? And what in particular draws you to those specific canons or those specific settings?
So that's a difficult question. The first thing that comes to mind is that there's a specific, and I was very transparent about this, but the Grimm is based on Chult. I think Chult is fascinating. This like, it's like a meat grinder, which is exactly the opposite of how I run my campaign, but like the actual setting itself, the disease, the fauna, the flora, that was all really inspiring to me. So that's what that's based off of. As far as other settings that have inspired me, that's a challenge. I find myself obviously really inspired by Critical Role. I love what Matt Mercer has done for the community and for D&D and whatnot. I feel like anytime I mention Critical Role, I feel the need to mention that I've been playing D&D longer than Critical Role's been on, so I didn't. That doesn't make me a better or worse DM or anything, but it's, as a DM, you want to do as little work as possible. You want to be able to put as much work into the things that you do love. So there are certain things that I steal, straight up rip. Wolfcrest used to be called Everwinter. Because it was always winter there, which is a lot like a Faerunian town called Neverwinter. Yeah, y'all get it. So there's another aspect of the story. It's hard to say that like my set and setting is whenever I think of set and setting, I think of the actual world, but like the physical aspect of it. But I'll go ahead and say that there is a line, like a storyline in this world that is a tribute to a campaign that I'm currently in with Morgan and Mindy, and that is Tyranny of Dragons, which is a great campaign module. Absolutely have really enjoyed playing through it as a player. So there's a heavy kind of Cult of the Dragon Queen influence. As far as the last thing I will admit is a little corny, but Mindy and I met a long time ago on a site called HarryPotterHaven.net, which is a play-by-post role-playing site based on Harry Potter. And it's not that my campaign setting is based on anything in Harry Potter, but there was a character that I made. It was one of my first characters. Her name is Isabel Macias. And she, every 6 months in real life is a year. No, every 6 months in real life is a year in the game. And I grew her from a second year to her 2 twin children graduating Hogwarts, which is a long fucking time. So Isabella Isabella Massiere, who is the current empress, is based on that character. And Areo and Annalena are her actual children in this world that Mindy and I we played in together. Areo essentially became my baby. And so a lot of the things that happened because of my exploration of Areo and his life of like losing his father at an early age, losing his mother later on, dealing with the things that he has to deal with, like being a prince and whatnot. And so a big storyline came from that too. So yeah, does that answer the question?
I mean, probably.
Okay.
And if not, I'm sure chat will scream and I'll just ignore it. That's
Great.
fine. Cool. Great. Let's move on. You just talked about your characters' pasts and seeing them transition into your future/present. Let's extrapolate that to everyone. So everyone, this is a question for all of you. All of you can answer this question. It's meant for every last one of you. Where do you see your characters going in their personal lives? Where do you want to see them in canon in 5 years? Or maybe down the line? What do you see as the natural progression for them?
I will go first because Alexander has a very concrete idea of what he wants to do. And it's basically just research. Like if he can, he's attached himself to this group, and he enjoys their company, and he knows that to kind of keep this small family that he's started to grow, he needs to kind of continue to be with them. But once he definitely hopes that once some of this kind of apocalyptic world threatening threats are dealt with, that he can take some of what he's used and like build a proper wizard's tower and start to just kind of like do research, but also, get to hang out with people. So
I can go next. Leona wants to be married. Wants to probably have a couple of kids. She wants Kesra to see her as a sister. She has a long list of things she needs to get done, though, so she's got to check everything off the list first. But 5 years down the road, they will have found some resolution, both with the war, with various stories and strings within the party. Like Alexander, she wants to make sure that there's some kind of resolution with his family, whatever that looks like. She fully intends, but in 5 years, to have already started planning for Kesra and Alexander's wedding. Currently, I'm just letting you know that is. Yeah. Okay. And that's really it. Kids, marriage, weddings, resolution.
I actually really want to say something about that. So, if you don't mind me interjecting, women get a lot of flack whenever you, in real life and in stories, when you have a person or a character who wants to be married and have kids. There's a lot of pressure on women to, this is not news to anybody, there's a lot of pressure on women to be more career-minded or be more whatever, depending on where you come from. There's a lot of pressure on both sides, like have kids, have a husband, whatever, but don't be obsessed with those things because that's not a good look. And so if you have, I think that Mindy does a great job of playing this very real character who really wants these things, which is, I mean, that's close to my own heart. I want to be married and have kids. but she's also not vapid about it, not consumed by it, and she's still showing us a great, healthy, first of all, a healthy relationship between her and Ray, and going on with her life while she's in the process of working on that. So, yeah, just wanted to put that out there. Who's next?
Don't make me call on someone.
I'll go. Eldon, in the next 5 years, would like to see Areo's mother, the Empress, rescued. Areo ascended to the throne with Leona at his side, and he would like to be serving them in whatever capacity they see fit with Val. Literally it. Whatever that looks like, he just wants to be useful and end with Val.
I can answer for Atlas. At some point after this whole thing is over, he wants to go back and kind of free the Doomsum Dread from the merchant class that kind of rule over them, whether it be with words or not with words. So he would like to see that happen so that the people that live there can, live free and open lives. And then now that he's got a taste of kind of, traveling and seeing the world, he would probably want to continue that. I mean, he's still pretty young. He's only like 25. So he would probably just want to keep going out there, seeing what the world has to offer, training, leveling up his skills.
Tony, are you playing the youngest person in this party?
I think so, yeah.
That's amazing.
I didn't even think about
I don't
that.
think
Leona. Yes, she is.
Leona's not 25 yet.
Because I think Kessler, I thought Kessler was 27.
I'm pretty sure I'm 23, 24.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm young.
Okay. All right.
Look at all this wisdom and the young babies.
I'm definitely the old of the group.
I don't know. I think Alexander might give you a run for your money there, but
How old is Alexander?
I think I have him at 30, but it might
Yeah, I'm
be
definitely
35.
older.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
Than's
35.
Yeah.
Eldon is
Yeah.
35.
Look at
Because
you.
Alexander took he had to spend 8 years in wizard school flunking out. So
Kate?
So I have two answers. One's a lot shorter than the other one because Kesra, she's already had a conversation with Alexander about how she doesn't think she's going to make it through this. She doesn't have a 5-year plan because she doesn't think she's never had one. She's been surprised with every birthday she's ever imagines herself to have because she only recently learned about what her birthday actually was. But every new year, she's surprised she's still here. She does not have a plan for the future because that would be thinking about what she wants. And that's a little too connected to herself that she refuses to do.
Not part of her avoidance plan.
Yeah. Me, myself, and I, when I made Kesser with Camille, we had a lot of conversations about the arc that we wanted Kesser to have, the arc that I wanted Kesser to have. And she's level 11, and honestly, I think she's right on target for it. It's a little frustrating because I know that she's not going to get to where I want her to be for another probably 5 or 6 levels. But she's already come so much farther than she was at level 2 than she is now, because at level 2 she tried to run away from a fireball. And at level 11 she ran and tried to aggro a dragon for some people that she met once and some people that she's never met. She almost channeled divinity in that fight. She tried to use healing word on Salix at the end of that fight. She's physically gone to the temple of Palor. She didn't do it intentionally to commune with Palor, but she went. She crossed the threshold. She's frustratingly She's a very frustrating character, but I want her at the end of this to be someone that likes herself, because she does not like herself. That's part of where most of it comes from, is she doesn't like herself and doesn't think that she's worth all of the things and all of the people. So I want her to like herself. I want her to embrace Leona as a sister. I want her to, I don't know that she'll ever be like, praise Paylor, but I want her to, one, stop calling him a shitlord. That would be nice. That would be the first step. Just to stop calling him a shitlord. But to embrace Paylor and what he wants her to do, and to embrace her destiny. That's what I want. That's where I want her to go. It's where I want her to be. She's on her way. I don't think she'll be there till level 16 or 17. But she'll get there eventually. She's on her way there. Just got to be patient with her. She's in the growing pain. She is in the emotional. She's in the teenage stage of Kesra right now.
That's such a beautiful way of saying that.
It's the most annoying part, because you see the almost, and then she like steps all the way back, and you're like, fuck, no. So yeah, like I said, short answer and long answer.
Great answer.
Mm-hmm. Camille, I know you don't play any PCs, but is there any NPC you'd like to answer that question for?
Oh. Well, I'll answer quickly for a couple that you might have forgotten about. Andromeda Skyseeker wants to marry her sweetheart Soren Silvarian. She wants to be cured of her oracle curse. That's where they are on their way to right now, apparently. Last we left off with them. Areo, I'll answer him last. Zytharia wants to be doing the same thing she's doing right now. She wants to be continuing to use her very high level cleric powers to save people who would otherwise die. That is a big deal for her. She lost some people. She lost someone very early in her formative years that she felt like she could have saved, and because of that, she feels a responsibility for adventurers. And that's something near, and that's a Camille insert right there. Zytharia is there's a lot about Zytharia that actually reflects a lot of big parts of me. Kiyu wants another tail. She is on a quest to get her 9 tails. She only has 2. So she's working on it. Trying very hard. She's pretty young for a kitsune. The Empress would like to not be imprisoned in the 9 hells. Are there any other NPCs aside from Maria that y'all want to hear about real quick?
I kind of want to hear about Roman.
I would also love to hear about Roman.
I mean, I hate him.
Oh, I want to know what
I
he
want to know
wants.
about Roman.
Oh, wait.
Sarah would like to be reunited with Atlas on a more regular level. She adores him. Just partly so that she could keep him safe. Partly because, she loves him. Sarah wants to see the end of this war. And Roman's ideal situation is somebody else actually rules. Somebody else actually makes the hard decisions. He gets to just be treated like a king with whatever he wants, whoever he wants, whenever he wants it. By any means necessary. I'm about to drop a bomb on y'all, but Areo never wanted to be king. Not once. Still doesn't. He actually almost gave up his throne to join the guard that the Knight's Guard that keeps the royalty safe. In fact, it was Grant Ellis's character Valentin that convinced him not to. He did not want to be an emperor until he met Leona, because he did not think that he could do it. But because he has someone like Leona at his side, now he's starting to feel like this is something that he can handle. Which reflects a little bit of how I'm feeling in my own life. And yeah, that's it. Those are all the characters.
So, do you? This is a group question for all of you. Do you think anyone was afraid to fight the dragon? Were you afraid to fight the dragon, Daventarth? And what would you have done differently in the fight from the big old crossover that you did or did? I don't know. Would you do anything differently?
So would we do anything differently had it just been us?
I mean, sure, let's do that. This question was posed by I didn't take the name down, so that's on me.
I mean, Alexander was definitely afraid to fight the dragon. He doesn't like fighting dragons. But having Zytharia there definitely helped because he knew that like, okay, so long as she stays alive, we'll probably be all right. Things I would do differently in the fight in general. I should have, because the only reason that I didn't do it is because the dragon moved. If the dragon hadn't jumped over by me, if the dragon hadn't jumped across the wall and jumped by me, I would have destroyed the wall that he put up, or I would have destroyed some of the wall that he put up so that people could run through instead of having to push their way through. But he then landed right next to me, and it was like, well, shit.
So for Atlas, after getting beat in the Hopeless Gardens, he had been kind of like doubting himself and his skills, where like before he was still kind of cocky and confident, and then he lost that. So he started to get that back slowly. And the last two dragon fights, but primarily this one, he felt more in his element. Like some of that cockiness and some of that brashness started to come back out. And he's just like, oh, I'm going to put up a wall. I'm just going to jump your wall. Screw you. And I'm going to be on your head. And yeah, so definitely more of Atlas's charm, swagger, and bravado were starting to show, or maybe Tony's was. It's hard to tell sometimes.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Yeah, you know. But yeah, I don't think there's anything that I would change about the way Atlas performed in that fight.
For Eldon, who isn't afraid to fight an ancient green dragon? But Eldon's never going to show it. He's never going to think it. He's never even going to give it the time and space that it would want. He's just going to go do his thing. And I don't think I would change anything about what I did during the fight.
There's no room for that kind of stuff in the military.
There's no room for it. That's the job. You go do the job. And so that was the job. And if you start doubting, that's when you start failing. So
yep. It's one of my
Water and
favorite
stone,
parts.
brother.
It's one of my favorite parts about Eldon. Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I think I would say is I wish I could have been as suicidal as it might have been. I wish I would have been closer to Salix so that I could have maybe taken that instead of her, even though it wouldn't have mattered as much. But Eldon, just somebody died while he was there, and he promised that wouldn't happen. So
Kessa was terrified. She said that many times. like, why are we doing this? This is stupid. Why are we doing this? She said that a lot. The only things that I said this earlier, if the dragon hadn't hopped over and killed Eris, then so the thing I would have changed is but that's knowing how the dice are going to roll, so it wouldn't really have mattered. If I had known, I would not have tried to go off to the side and attract the dragon's attention, because of course I should have known he was going to pass my little teeny weeny puny, DC. if I had known that, then I would have just run straight at him and started hacking and slashing and lacking at that point in time. But I didn't think about it. It was a let's see if this works. I wish I had been able to get off the channel divinity, but the dragon fucking hopped it. She's had that since level 3 and she has not used it. Someday she's going to use it and it's going to be amazing. But last Monday was not that day. So and trying to get the healing word on Salix. She probably would have said something like, "You're not done yet. We're not dust yourself off," some kind of really not super motivating healing word, but it would have worked. But he counterspelled me, so it's fine. Hey, he was here to kill us. It's how it happens. Don't grimace. No grimacing face, Camille.
No,
Grimacing face.
I mean, it's the same thing with like the moving and the stuff. Like,
Yeah. It's how it was supposed to be. The fight can't go exactly how we want.
Right.
It's no fun in that. First off. Secondly, that's not true to the character. And thirdly, it's not how Camille operates.
Right.
We're not disappointed.
No.
I just need you to know that.
So Leona was not scared, and I don't even really know if worried is the right word. Not that she didn't recognize that it was dangerous, not that she didn't recognize that there were risks. I mean, she had the conversation with Kendall afterwards, but Leona has a lot of faith. And she genuinely believed that if Scytharia and Kendall were being called to do this by the Raven Queen, then there was a way that they were all going to make it out okay. It was going to take some, caution and some, good decision making, but unlike Kesra, who may have thought that the Raven Queen just sent them there to die, not really, but like had that kind of energy. Leona has a lot of faith in the gods. So I don't know if worried's not the right word. I don't really know the right word to describe how she was feeling. Because, I mean, confident, kind of optimistic, probably. But based off of what she genuinely believes. I don't know. If we're called to do this, then we wouldn't be called to do something we couldn't do. So. I think that answers it. Oh, I don't know if I don't think she would have changed anything she did. I think kind of like a few of the things that Morgan and Kate said, some of the things I had planned changed, but I think the decisions that were made, I think were true to Leona. And I don't think there's anything she would have done differently, hindsight being 2020. Yeah.
Horrific. Okay. So, Morgan, I've got a great question for you. What's Alexander's dumbest moment? We know Alexander is smart, but let's look into their past and see an instant where they did not exercise that intellect.
His dumbest moment. Ugh. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think of. I mean, he's made a lot of mistakes. Dumbest moment. I think it would. I mean, it would probably be like a series of things. I mean, I think like overall the dumbest thing he did was probably like try and get away from his family and stuff. But I think that there's probably some event when he was at the Crystalline Academy where he like just totally fucked shit up. Like You know what? I mean, I could totally see like the first time that he actually figured out how to summon his necromantic familiar. Like he probably did it like in the library or something like that. He's just got this undead cat running around. He's trying to figure out how to control. That's a tough one.
Okay, well, I love that image of, I'm sorry, the cat's name is Mr.
Grumps.
Mr. Grumps running around in an old library. Dim lights, candles, everyone nose and books. I love it. I want to shift again to Tony, and this could probably be partially Tony and Camille, because we had a question posed by our dear friend Andrew, Fellowship of the Tables, Bay of Gifts. What's a juicy fact about Atlas's homeland that we don't know yet?
Ooh. Oh, all right. So as it is a desert land, and as I mentioned before, it is ruled by the merchant class, there is a lot of smuggling that happens because when the merchants rule everything, they hijack up all the prices. So a lot of the youths have their own little underground system that they use to move goods around the Dunes of Dread and get supplies to people that actually need them. Kind of like a sand-bound underground railroad for merchandise. So, yeah, and Atlas totally participated in that as a kid. And by kid, I mean up till he was like 19.
For me, anybody who's ever made a character in my campaign knows that I don't like to say that I'm strict on races, but it's because I don't. The reason that nobody plays a Luxodon character, the reason nobody plays a Vidalcan character, the reason nobody plays a Genasi, it's because that they do not live on Sidmaria. However, you would find more of these shifters, changelings, Genasi on Iolan. That's where a lot of these other races are. So, Iolan is much more diverse than Sidmaria.
Neat.
There you go.
What about Aasimar?
Aasimar are all over the place. They're most of the Aasimar are gonna live in the like on Mount Celestia is their actual kind of like true home, but there are kind of like a watered down version of an Aasimar that like is like you would see with Deirdre and Sentinel, and that kind of thing.
Amy's an Asimar.
And Amy.
I don't know those characters.
Me neither. It's okay.
You guys are missing out. You guys are amazing.
Celestia. No, not Celestia. Andromeda is an Aasimar.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I don't know who that character is.
Oh, I do.
Than, I have a great question for you.
Oh, no.
If you could have any mythical weapon or equipment from any lore, including non-D&D mythos, which one would you want most for Eldon to have in their possession?
Oh, man. I saw this question and I thought really hard and I didn't come up with a really solid answer yet. I'm just going to be fun and say lightsaber because, why not? Why not?
Why not?
That'd be dope.
Dope sword shit.
I mean, that does exist in the D&D universe. It's just called the Sun Sword.
It is called the Sun Sword. You're right. Hey, Camille.
Or a soul knife.
Yes, Soul Knife Rogue. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Been working on one of those too.
Hatred of psionic intensifies. Let's
Same.
I love psionics.
I hate
Thank you.
psionics.
I know
I
you.
hate
It hurts
them.
my
Love them.
soul.
I love them.
Let's move on to Kate, and let's ask Kate a question.
I don't know
Because
anything about psionics.
that's
so
You don't need
Oh
to.
no,
It's
that's
fine.
not what I'm. That's not what I'm
can't-
asking.
They're useless.
Questions about. They
I
are
believe
not
my
useless.
roommate. Okay.
But, what's Kester's favorite technique to use in the combat?
She's a very, very technical fighter. She really puts a lot of thought into every attack. Her utmost favorite, however, is the whack. Sometimes she hacks. If she's feeling a little spicy, she'll slash. However, that's usually it's usually how how these things go. It's pretty cool when she slices people's heads off. She does like to do the on top and then reverse the momentum and go under kind of thing, but a lot of hacking and slashing.
True to form. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Oh, Mindy, I think I have a question for you.
I might have an answer.
Let's see if they match.
Okay.
What song would you pick for a duet between Leona and the Iris? I bet you can't guess who asked this question.
I have no idea. Who asked this question?
Lady Dame.
Oh my gosh, what? No, I don't believe you.
Wait, are you being sarcastic or do I just feel stupid right now?
Oh no, I'm being sarcastic.
Oh, so I just feel stupid right now. Gotcha.
Wait, you said those. Okay. Wow. I don't know. I think it would be interesting to sing a duet. Hold on, let me verify this song real quick. Oh, it's fine. I don't remember what it's called. Y'all, I don't remember what it's called.
Looks like you just have to sing it.
What a man.
Oh my god. No, it's a song. It's the
You just got to sing it, Mindy.
Oh. I would want to sing. So one of the interesting things about them, obviously, is they have this, connection with Ray. And I feel like, Iris was very, maybe not very, but for a few reasons, reluctant to commit. I mean, there was maybe a faking of the death to get out of the engagement. But we see, oh my God, y'all are so funny. But so the song Gravity is a song that I think would be interesting for them, mostly because I just love the song anyway. But it is about how you keep getting pulled back and how it's this, and if you look at it from one perspective, it's this beautiful thing. And like, you keep me grounded. And then on the other hand, it's like, you're holding me back. I feel weighted down. And the two perspectives about the same person, I don't know, that interests me. Y'all also have great suggestions. So yes, we'll sing all of those.
Thanks, Mindy.
Thank you. Thank you. That was wonderful.
Oh no.
Man, we're doing great. How's everyone feeling? How's everyone doing? This is just me checking in on everyone.
Living the
Everyone
dream.
Doing okay?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
All the greens.
Good. Yes, good. Great. Morgan? Oh, yes.
There he is.
What does Alexander think is actually going on with his brother? Double agent? triple agent? Does it bother him that he can't really talk to his brother right now, given the circumstances?
So, it does not bother him because he feels betrayed, and he's felt betrayed by his older brother for a long time, and this kind of is the last nail in the coffin. So he has very little desire to talk with Zane right now, at least. And as far as what he thinks he is, hearing through the grapevine that he was claiming to be a double agent, he definitely doesn't put it past his brother, but he also there's definitely doubt about if his brother is sneaky enough to have actually gotten anything useful from devils by playing a double agent. So he's definitely he's skeptical, and probably he thinks that his brother may have maybe a triple agent. Like he's not sure, but right now he's just angry at him. So
Big yikes.
yeah.
Yup. Oof. Let's get a light question in here. Nice light question. A simple group question. Who do you think gives the best hugs out of the group of you?
Eldon.
Leona.
I have to say Leona.
Yeah.
Or I would definitely say Eldon as a second.
That's exactly. I was gonna say if it's not
Yeah.
Leona, it's Eldon, but it's Leona.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
The eyes have it. Leona and then Eldon hugging at the same time.
Group hug.
That would be the most comfortable place in San Maria, is in a hug sandwich between them. Like
I think one of the only reasons that Leona beats out Eldon in my mind is Eldon is always wearing armor.
That's
Yeah.
fair. That's fair. That does not
Just
make
think of
for
how good those
as-
hugs are through the armor. Just imagine.
Think
if
how
there's no
imagine.
armor.
Yes, just imagine.
that would be amazing. I would want a hug from them.
Okay. Camille.
Oh, a question for
Oh, a
me.
question
Imagine
for
that.
you. Imagine that. Wait, what?
What?
If you were an actual player of Fate's Chosen, as if you weren't actually a player.
If I actually did anything. If I actually played.
And not the DM, what type of character would you play? And you can't pick
Tharia?
Zytharia,
Or Ray.
or that.
So, like, if I was to make my own character.
Yes.
Okay. I've been noodling on a character who is struggling with the darker side of their personality. The fact that killing is very easy in D&D. Hold on, let's change the music for this. Hold on. Someone who is fully aware of how much they like to kill things and is very good at it. Probably, I love the concept of them having this family who has fallen from grace, a formerly noble family, and maybe her older sister is like an artificer and she makes guns or something. Maybe this character has a few rogue levels, but someone who is very talented at ending creatures' lives and has to kind of come to grips with the fact that that's not okay to take fate into your own hands like that. You can't be judge, jury, and executioner. That is not really your place to It's not really it's not really her place to decide who gets to live and who gets to die. So that's kind of the character I'd be toying with. I think that would be fun to play a darker character to contrast kind of the lightness in this group. Even Alexander is not really a dark character, I would say. But this character wouldn't necessarily even be evil. Like, she wants to be accepted, she wants to be whatnot, but she just has kind of had a hard time. In my idea, she's from Asmarin and kind of went through the incursion, like grew up in the incursion when devils were, held the city hostage. So yeah, that's my idea.
I have a follow-up question with that.
What's up?
This imaginary character of yours that you've put no thought into in any way, shape, form, or
Not at all.
fashion to join this group, what relationships do you think this character would have with the members of the group?
Ooh. I think she would have the hardest time with Leona. I think she would want to be closest to Leona, but she would have the hardest time, like, connecting, because I think she would feel very judged by Leona. I think that she would think that Atlas was totally unreachable and totally, like, not a real person. She would think he was faking it. She'd like, you're not real. Like, don't speak to me like that. Like, get the fuck out of here. She might overtly look down, like, on the surface, look down at Eldon for his soldier boy kind of, the way he blindly follows, but in reality, she would be jealous of his ability to commit, and his loyalty. I think that she would stick to Kesra, but would hate herself for it. Because she wants to be different. She wants to be a hero as well. I think we all want to be a hero of our stories. But she would feel the most like Kesra. And kind of, I don't know how she'd feel about Alexander. She'd be pretty conflicted about Alexander. But would probably just be generally okay with his necromancy and the way he is. She'd give him shit for being a noble, but also envy him for still having that noble status after her family lost it. Yeah.
Thank you. Wonderful answers.
Thank you. Look, I got a question. Oh, thanks, guys.
That was a good question. Good answer. Boy.
Thanks, Wendy.
I mean, there's lots of questions for people. Do you want another one?
I mean,
Pretty please.
Go ahead.
So, Camille, does Oreo expect to find his mother alive?
Yes.
How does he expect this trip to the Hells to play out?
Very carefully. He thinks that the best laid plan is the first place to start, but he knows that no plan survives contact with the enemy. So he thinks that to get the very, very best people behind him and protect them with all of his abilities, that it will work out.
Well, I wonder why Eldon likes him so much.
Yeah. Are y'all ready for a secret?
Yes.
Leona better plug her ears. Oreo is not entirely convinced he's gonna make it back.
She is.
Why are they so similar?
Yeah. Yeah.
God damn it.
He thinks his mother is a much better ruler than he would be, so that's his secret is he is ready to go down there and exchange his life for hers, which is part of the reason he hasn't proposed to Leona yet.
Ha, good luck with that.
Would just like to say something on that. If Atlas is on that trip, he will make it back, as Atlas owes him a debt. So
yeah.
Maybe the relinquishment of that debt is letting Oreo go.
Ooh.
Ouch.
I don't owe you a debt. Minus this 29 gold, but I have 29 gold to pay you back, so it's okay.
You just got to bring that back with you.
I will have it in my pocket.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
Also, no. Eldon is not gonna let that happen. Leona's not gonna let that happen.
Boo!
Atlas might possibly, let go for a split second for the debt to fulfill it and then grab back on again.
The thing about this is that if he might not give y'all a choice.
Well,
let me just say this. This is a DM talking. Camille, Oreo is my baby, so
Look,
you've almost killed him so many times.
So I'm telling you.
I did kill him.
so many times.
I did kill him once.
God.
Oops. Anyway.
Instantly.
I mean, I'm
Bam.
curious to know how Kessera and Alexander would handle something like that. We've got some insight to the other characters. What about the two of you?
I mean, it would depend. I mean, Alexander has made his point clear. He will never bow to Areo. But that doesn't mean that he doesn't like him or anything like that. So I think that in most situations, he would definitely try and bring him back. I think if Areo does the, here, I'll hold the line while you prepare the way to get out, I think Alexander would be like, okay, I'll prepare the way to get out. Make sure you come. But then if he doesn't show up, he's going to be like, well, we're getting the fuck out of here. Because, yeah.
So, for Fancy Pants, Kessera would probably sacrifice herself for Fancy Pants. Would she sacrifice everyone else for Fancy Pants? No. If it was just her, then she would probably tell him to shut up, stop being stupid, let's go. If everyone else's life was on the line and it was the group or Areo, she would go with the group. She would hate herself for it, but she would do it. So.
Leona would find another way.
She'd be way more concerned with Leona.
I think it's 8 o'clock. I think it's a good time to take a quick break, run the ads, and let us know what y'all think in the chat of the answers so far. And we are back. Thanks for hanging tight, everybody. Welcome back to the second half of today's fourth watch session, where the cast of Fate's Chosen is being interviewed by Ren. And we're getting some juicy details in here, I think. Alright, let's get started.
It's me. I'm Ren, and you're all you, and I'm here asking questions. So, let's go ahead and pitch another one and see what surfaces. So, Kate, I feel like people ask this question of you a lot because Kessera is just a bubbling vat of personality and complete, utter joy. What difficulties do you have playing a character that is so much of an opposite of you as a real life, actual, factual person? And I think pretty much anyone who's met you can agree that you are not like Kessera at all. So please,
Yeah, Ren.
go ahead and tell us.
You wouldn't know anything about that, Ren.
No.
I've been on sites like the one that Camille and Mindy met on for about as long as Camille and Mindy have. So I've written a lot of characters for Play by Post, RP, and things like that. So when I made Kessera, I told Camille that I deliberately wanted to make a character that would be a challenge for me to play. And I succeeded beyond my wildest dreams. It was very difficult in the beginning. Very difficult in the beginning because she had no attachment to the characters at all. Whereas I personally love them and I love these characters. And it's very frustrating because Kessera does not see the world as I do. She does not see people the way that I do. She does not see faith in a way that I do. And so it's very strange. It's very strange because it's very easy for me to get into character for her, even though I very starkly disagree with most of the things that she does and or says. And even as I do and or say them, I'm like, God damn it. Damn it. But yeah, it's definitely, it's gotten a lot easier. It's very easy for me to sink into her character. I know she is very just about fully fleshed in my mind of who she is and how she thinks and things like that. But I'm opposite of her because I like to make other people's problems my problems, even though they don't want them to be my problems. And then I feel bad when those things go wrong and I had nothing to do with it, but I still feel like it was my fault. And she's the opposite. The opposite. Your problems are not my problems. Even if I was directly related to those problems, they're not my fault. You deal with them, not my problem. So that was really that was the hardest thing to separate. It's because when people have issues and people have feelings, I went to go over and say, let me help you. Let me comfort you. Let me do these things.
Can confirm.
It's actually a bit of a thing I'm working on, is stepping back from that. Camille can also confirm I'm generally better at that than I was when I first moved in with her. But yeah, no. There's a lot of struggle, but it's very rewarding when you guys like her. It's very rewarding when you guys appreciate the subtlety of the character and these small things. Makes me feel like kind of have a handle on it, and I appreciate it.
We appreciate you for what you do. And you know, it's interesting you mention you have an easy time slipping into the character, and it kind of prompts me to ask a question that just came up out the top of my head. But do any of y'all have routines or exercises you do to get into character before you play them? Because you hear about like athletes who have practices or superstitions or things they do to get ready for a game. Do y'all have something you do before you step into your character's shoes? Any and all of you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I start using his voice about an hour to 2 hours before every session to make
Amazing.
sure I've got it and I'm in it. And I also roll all the bad out of my dice every time, and it helps me focus. And I just literally just roll until I get whatever the highest number is on every dice. But it just gets me in that mode of, yeah.
I listened to a playlist that Camille made way back when. I've since added to it, but she started like with 10 songs. I've only added like another 10, I think. And I would listen to that at work all day because I could. So, and then I just kind of lean back and then she's here. But I hate it, so I'm here instead. Hi, guys.
Yo, you're muted.
Mother bitch. It's really funny because Kessler doesn't give a shit about the lore, but Kate does. And Kate off screen is like obsessing about lore. And like asks me questions after the session, and like it's just, anyway, I'm interrupting your answer, but
No, it's fine.
just funny.
I forgot about that. It's so frustrating.
I don't have anything in particular. I mean, I kind of, when I was still going to work, the commute home was definitely a very, very much just like obsessing over my spells. Like, what do I have? It was often like, what do I have prepared? And what are we possibly doing today? Very analytical. Like, okay, well, how do I need to use these spell slots to maximize my effectiveness today?
For me, I've got levels of monk myself, so I'll play with some of my weapons or like think over some of my old forms or katas and stuff like that. So that usually helps get me in the Atlas vibe.
I don't really have anything that I do before a session to kind of get me into DMing, but when I'm playing a character, I love to sing in their voice to myself or in the car if I'm driving over to my DM's to play at his house. I'll put on Zaitharia's playlist and I'll just sing in her voice. Yeah, I think creating playlists is a big thing for me. I created a playlist for all the characters at the beginning of Fate's Chosen. And so yeah, music is a pretty big inspiration for me.
So I also am a big music goer. I also use the playlist that Camille crafted once upon a time. I also have added some songs to it, most of them Disney songs. I will say one thing that I do that I think it maybe is cheating because I'm not fancy enough like all y'all other bards in the world. But if I know there is a chance of singing, I will have some songs on hand that are familiar enough that I can quick change lyrics if I need to, depending on the situation. This is something that I have to do so I don't freak out. If I know I have these 3 songs on ready, lyrics pulled up, I can get them in my head quickly so I don't freeze because I do get nervous. So that was something that I had to learn worked for me, especially now that Leona's back in bard mode. But I am also a weirdie and I like to, out loud in the car, play like, ambiance music. And then like what scenes might happen? I don't know. Let's talk them out loud like a weirdo on the drive home. That's what I do. And my Mondays are usually driving home from work and then a very quick, because for me, when school is in session, I'm coming straight from our school's D&D club and I play a different character, not as different, but a different character. And so that drive home for me is a big shifting of the mindset, but it usually comes across as me making up scenarios.
That's amazing, Mindy.
It's fine. Here I am.
I have a follow-up question for everybody. Really quickly, lightning round. What is a song that you feel like sums up your character? I'll give y'all Oreos. Power Over Me by Dermot Kennedy. Found by Kate.
It's such a good song, though.
And it is.
Did you share that song with me?
Zytharia in her actual campaign that she's in will be In Flames by Digital Daggers.
Yeah, you definitely did send that song to me. I knew it. It's like, that sounds familiar.
Should tell me.
Leona.
Well, my wife has suggested that Alexander's song should be "I Have Friends in Low Places," but
oh my god!
Yes, Juba. Yes.
Love her so much.
I don't know what I would think. I'm not very musically gifted of knowing songs, so we'll stick with Beth's answer for the moment unless I can come up with something better or something I think is more appropriate.
Eldon's theme song is "I Was Born, I Have Lived, I Will Surely Die" by Young Guns.
Sounds legit.
If you ever look it up, yeah.
I may change this later, but I'm thinking New Perspective by Panic at the Disco.
Ooh.
Okay.
So, Kestra's song has always been, I think I annoyed the shit out of Camille by bringing it up because she wouldn't talk to me about it. So I kept like, can we talk to me about it? I wouldn't talk about it. Can we talk about it? Broken Crown by Mumford & Sons. She remembers now the like 8 times. I'm like, hey, did I ever tell you about this song? Hey, have I told you about this song? Oh, yeah. Also, Who Are You by Mickey Echo is Who Are You Really by Mickey Echo is very good as well. So.
God, there are so many songs, y'all.
Let's say I named one. There's
God.
I have
Say
a
You'll
whole
Haunt Me
playlist.
by Stone Sour.
I'm looking through this playlist that has I will say there is one song that is specifically in regards to Roman, and it is Bird Set Free. But I think overall, in the grand scheme, big picture of Leona, Try Everything from Zoopolis is Leona in a nutshell. I'm gonna try everything. And if I fail, okay, I'll just get back up and try again.
I love her so much.
The lyrics for that song are pretty. I won't give up. No, I won't give in till I reach the end. Then I'll start again. That's pretty much Leona in a nutshell.
I think that was
Yeah.
everybody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Good question. Hard
Great.
question.
Yes. Some of us find music very hard. But y'all nailed it. I know, right? Solidarity, Morgan. So I'm gonna ask you a question in solidarity, Morgan. Yay! Teldos asks, what's Alexander's greatest fear regarding each member of the Fates Chosen party?
Good question.
Let's see here. Greatest fear of Leona is that I think his greatest fear with her, considering he knows enough about her oracle nature, is that she will see something dark and lich-like in his future. I think.
Don't give the DM ideas.
No, I mean, like, she would see him being that.
I know.
Well, that's not what he has planned. But anyways, I think his greatest fear of Eldon would be, I think it would just be, I mean, I think it would honestly be kind of just physical. It would be, I think he would be afraid that Eldon gets ordered to, like, okay, we don't need this necromancer anymore. Like, I mean, Eldon hasn't opened up a lot with Alexander, so like, as far as Alexander is concerned, Eldon is kind of the token, like, crown presence, basically, of like, he's currently literally the law walking around with me. Now, granted, I'm on good terms with the Emperor and his wife, but like, that can change. I think his greatest fear of Atlas is that they will get in a situation where Atlas has made his dislike of Alexander's abilities known. And I think his greatest fear of Atlas is that they will get into a situation where Atlas sees an opportunity to relieve himself of Alexander and will take that chance. And I think his greatest fear with Kesra is that she will get close enough to her god that she will abandon him.
Good answers.
Whew. Rough. Thank you.
Big oof.
That was a lot of feelings.
Sounds
Let's
like-
ride that-
Oh, go ahead, Bryn.
No, you say a thing.
I was to say, it sounds like all Alexander really wants is to be accepted by the people he cares about, which is something we can all relate to.
Oh yeah.
Let's ride that field train. Right into Eldon Square. What does happily ever after look like for Eldon?
Shit. Honestly, it's kind of the same as that where he sees himself in 5 years, just being useful and being with the person he loves. He doesn't know where necessarily that would be or what it would exactly look like. He wants to be of use to people, to serve people. Not a very deep thinker on that one.
I feel like that begs for a follow-up question. But I don't know if I'm smart enough to ask it. I think
Does Eldon believe he deserves a happily ever after?
No. He never will.
What does Eldon's future look like if Val had not survived?
He would just keep being a soldier his whole life. Frontline, wherever that front line is. Serving and ignoring the rest of the world.
Follow up. Eldon has a literal god inside of him. Spoilers, by the way.
Spoilers, yeah, spoilers.
This is the god of war, but the god of ending wars. What does a life without war look like for Eldon?
War specifically, there's still fighting and protecting from violence that needs to be done, even if it's not in a setting of war. So he would find ways of being there for people to protect them from the violence of the world.
Follow-up question.
Keep them coming.
What is Eldon gonna do about Cassis?
Oh lordy, he needs to study. He needs to learn. He has no idea what to do about it or how it's going to affect him. If there's anything more to it than what it is, or if there's some greater purpose as to why this has happened to him. He doesn't know. He wants to figure it out. And use that the best he can to keep on keeping on, doing what he does. Keep people safe. He just wants, if this helps him be useful, then it's a good thing.
One last question.
Yes.
Is there any part of Eldon that is wondering how he became a soldier? For example, hold on, let me back it up. How do I ask this? Essentially, Eldon has a god of war inside of him, and after that happened, he became a soldier, and a very good one. What does Eldon make of that? What does Than make of that?
That he would not have been a soldier if that hadn't happened. That say, he knows that if he had never been sent away from Grassgrave, he would have either just ended up a town drunk or a vagabond, or would have fallen in with the wrong crowd and been some kind of roguey assassin kind of something. But the specific being a soldier and being really good at it, now that he knows that there's a god inside him, he kind of questions whether that was him or if that was the effect.
Now I really want an alternate universe where Eldon didn't have the god, where Kessra signed up for the military, where
We should do a one-shot of that.
where Leona got married to Roman, where
Oh, God.
Alexander was found out by
I
his
don't know if I
family.
can emotionally handle that.
Oof.
I will
Yeah.
need some wine.
Okay, done with the line of questions.
But
for you, Eldon.
also, like,
Question.
maybe a one shot.
I have a question.
That'd be interesting.
Put that
Can
on
I ask a
Patreon.
question?
What's up, Kate?
This is for everyone at the table, including our illustrious host as well. If you could play, like, full-time commit and play someone else's character as they currently are in this campaign, who would you play?
Kesra?
Not like in a like we did with the swapping bodies thing, but like if you were to fully adopt a character as they are and play that character from now on for this campaign, who would you play?
Alexander.
Not smart enough to play Alexander.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. I'm not smart enough to be Alexander. I'm not smooth enough to be Atlas. I'm not happy enough to be Leona.
This
I would
is
be
a lot
Kesra.
of shit talking about my friends, so I'm gonna need you to stop right now. Thank you.
Does Zytharia count?
Yeah,
Oh,
Zytharia
I could
and
play.
Ray
Oh, we
count,
can
yeah.
play.
I could play Zytharia.
I would
I
play
did
Zytharia.
last week.
I'd still be Kesra.
I it's a toss-up between Eldon and Atlas.
Oh, I was hoping you were gonna say Leona.
No, I don't feel I have the chops to do a bard properly. Like the one bard that I have played is just a very different. It's not a singing bard at all. But
I forgot.
but
Sorry, I need a moment.
I think it's a toss-up between Eldon and Atlas. I think the reason I say Atlas is because I feel a little bit safe in a monk because I've got a high-level monk character that I play. But I do really like the idea of playing a fighter, and I haven't played a fighter yet in like a proper campaign. So I think that would also be really cool.
What about you, Ren?
It's a hard choice, but my honest answer is probably either Atlas or Salix. High wisdom characters.
Okay.
That was one of the reasons I was going to say Atlas.
Yeah. I like thoughtful characters.
Unlike Dev.
Dev's a good bean.
Dev's a great bean. I love Dev.
I would personally be torn between playing Leona because I play a character similar to Leona, and it's just a wonderful time to play. I don't have the singing chops for it, so I would have to like find some other way to be a bard. But I think that Leona's got a lot of depth to her that I would really want to play, and I would also really want to play Atlas, because he has that presence that like I kind of want to be Atlas when I grow up, like have that like sense of self that Atlas has, that concrete sense of self. I envy that, and I want that, and I would love to pretend that I have that. I would probably Eldon. I could play in a heartbeat. I love characters like Eldon. I've known people like Eldon. I could play Eldon in a heartbeat. It'd be super easy.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, if we're including Sunday Friends, then I would 100% play Kendall. I love Kendall. Kendall is.
I do like Kendall a lot. Yeah.
I
That would
love.
be
You know
really
what?
fun to play.
I'll change my answer to that because honestly, because I'd be fun to. I just love the way that Juan Carlos plays him so goofy, and I think it would be fun to play such a goofy character that also has like a serious.
There's a lot of depth to play with. I think one of the reasons I would play Zytharia, because besides like I love Zytharia, is also one of the reasons I would consider playing Kestra, is because as we've, I don't know if I've publicly said this on stream, but one of the reasons I love Leona and watching her faith develop is faith is very important to me, and for Zytharia it is like the thing in her life.
It's the pinnacle for her.
It is the pinnacle for her in her life. And for Kestra, it's something that she really struggles with. And both of those things are very interesting to me to explore because I've kind of explored both of them myself. So those, but also I love Kiri.
Tony?
Yeah. If we're including Sunday Friends, I would totally play Dev. I love the backstory and everything that goes along with it, and I would love to just be able to jump into that.
Yeah. Great question.
Thank you. Thanks, y'all. Good answers.
I feel so great. Tony, what would it take to convince Atlas that Kestra is ready to take on the Veldahar?
Oh, it would take so much. Like, she would have to like own up to like her destiny and prove that she is ready to like fulfill like all of that. Just stop being whiny, stop being broody and pouty. Like, I'd need to see her like seriously. It's like, all right, this is what I'm here for. I'm here to save the effing world, and I'm gonna do that. And that's about what it would take. Like, I don't know. Atlas's faith in Kesra is not super high. Not
Reasonably
super high
so. Reasonably so. You know what? I want to see that too.
It might be higher than Kesra's though.
Like, Atlas came for Leona and he's staying because of Kesra.
So far, getting it done.
Well, that raises an interesting question. If not Kesra, does Atlas have anyone else in mind that he thinks would be better suited to the task?
Are we talking people that have been prophesized to fulfill this task, or just anybody?
Well, I mean, Atlas knows best in this situation, doesn't he?
I mean, right now, if it was up to Atlas, Ray would be the one fulfilling this prophecy, like
If it was up to
100%.
Kesra, Ray would be the one fulfilling this prophecy.
If it was up to Ray, Ray would be the one fulfilling this prophecy.
So, yeah. And if I had to be anybody else in the group, probably Eldon.
Man who gets the job done.
Yeah.
There.
Thank you. Forget prophecies. What do prophecies do for anyone, right?
Ruin their lives.
Ruin their lives. Fuck everything up.
Camille, we have a very important question for you
Okay.
that's been posed. Given the recent developments on stream, how the heck do you pull off a 9 to 10 person crossover so seamlessly? How much do you plan? How much goes on behind the scenes? Why don't we give a little bit of a sneak peek behind the curtain for our wonderful Blaze in the chat right now?
I'm gonna tell you it's a lot of things. So the very first thing I'll tell you, it's a lot of practice, doing a lot of different things. Before you take on anything big, you need to be able to do it smaller. So having almost a year and a half of streaming experience of y'all should really go back and watch. For those of you who have gone back and watched the first 10 sessions, even the very first session, it's taken a lot of practice, a lot of trial and error. I've had a few people come and watch me do what I do, and kind of, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel validated when they, Scraticus just rated us. It makes me feel good whenever they come and say, I don't know how you do all this. But it's really a lot of practice. And the second part of it is knowing my players. I adore my players. I spend a lot of time and heart and soul investing in my players and their characters. And so a huge credit goes to all my players who, I don't know if y'all noticed, were very respectful of each other. I pointed this out in their callouts. They were very respectful of each other. They were very respectful of me. So it's a huge, shout out to them for being so sweet. And so just, generous with themselves and each other. Sorry, I'm getting a little distracted by chat right now. A 9-person stream, it was a challenge. It was rough, especially, I think the hardest part was, and I don't want to blame anybody at all, but somebody did lose internet during the stream, and the Zoom windows got all, but it's all right. It wasn't their fault at all, so it's not a big deal. But it does require a bit of being able to kind of take a deep breath and let stuff not go. And I'm not always great at letting stuff roll off my back, but that's a big part of it. As far as the story goes, I do lean on my players a lot for that. I also, something I practice a lot and work on a lot is pacing. Pacing is very important to me as a DM. And I know it's become important to my players. Being able to, I will say, the thing that I'm most proud of that whole thing is being able to pull that crossover off in 6 hours. So 3 for the first, 3 on Sunday, and then getting that fight done in the second part. So that took a lot of work. I feel like this is the place to plug my DM bootcamp.
Yes, it is.
Go!
I'm going to be running a DM's bootcamp. There will be 2 6-week segments. They will be $150 each, with diversity scholarships that you can apply for as well. If you're interested in, it will probably start around beginning of June for the first 6 weeks. If you're interested in joining the bootcamp, I have plenty of slots open. So send me a message on Twitter. I haven't made a formal announcement or anything, but there you go. If you want to learn how to do this thing, do the things that I do, you'll get the chance. But to wrap up my very long answer to this question, a lot of just rolling with the punches, a lot of just kind of going with it, a lot of yes and, a lot of also sticking firm to what I want to do and having an idea. I didn't do a lot of prep. I had aside from the knowing what a green dragon does and knowing all, having all the things that I have in my tool belt. But yeah, honestly, it went pretty well. It's pretty easy. I would say it's like okay, here's what it's like. When you commission an artist and they send you back a masterpiece in 30 minutes. You're like, holy shit, you did it in 30 minutes. Like, that must have been so easy for you. What you don't see is the years it took for them to get that good. And the work that they did, the work that they put in. The reason I was able to do that is because I have put in, me and my players have all put in the work on this. So, yeah, that's my answer. Thank you for asking. That was a very sweet question.
Follow up.
Follow up?
Follow up
Oh.
for our new viewers and for those who are rating right now. How long have you been DMing? You've been streaming for a year, but how long have you been DMing before that?
So we've been streaming for a year in September. No, 2 years in September. And I've been DMing for five years now.
When you first started, Camille,
Mm-hmm.
how did you overcome the difficulties of playing multiple characters all at once, and even writing entire campaigns? And we know how much you love talking to yourself on stream.
Honestly, the answer is really sad. I just think of all the characters that I want to play, but I don't get to because I'm always the dungeon master. And I play them as NPCs. Yeah.
But you do
Also-
it so well.
One of my favorite things to do is I love romance. That's what I'm actually, if Gen Con is a thing that's going to happen this year, I got pre-approved, semi-approved to run a panel on romance and TTRPGs. And one of my favorite things to do is romance my players. So that's one of my great things to come up with is ways to romance my friends.
Mm-hmm. Can't confirm both of those answers.
Hold on. How did I transition? Oh, being a writer really helped. Like working on dialogue, being a writer, watching Critical Role, watching Matt Colville's running the game. Loved those. Reading a lot of fantasy books. Playing with DMs who I didn't like. Yep. That's a big part of it. Playing with other players I didn't like. And dissecting why. And really not just writing somebody off because they did something I didn't like, but really getting to the root of what makes a good player, like what makes you good, what makes you a good dungeon master. And that's something that we're going to be talking about in my camp.
Some people say spite is the best way to improve yourself.
I got into DMing because the guy who got me into DMing, or got me into playing, I was like, I could be a better dungeon master than that. Watch me.
That's also how another friend of mine got into DMing, and she was amazing at it because we were in a terrible, terrible short campaign, and she said, I've never DM'd in my life, and I can DM better than that, and she was right. So you're not wrong, Ren. You are not wrong.
Spite. A lot of my life has been fueled on spite, so I'm not surprised that some of my DMing will be fueled on it as well.
And I think that's the important thing to know, is that anyone can DM with enough practice and enough dedication. So
I think that is true. And I think, yeah, anybody can DM with enough practice, dedication, and being willing to listen.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
insights. Tony, I have another question for you. Because the phrase dope monk shit is uttered so frequently on this Discord and on stream. A question has been posed. What style of dope monk shit does Atlas actually do? Is he modeled more after Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, someone else, what do you envision when you think of Atlas's dope monk shit?
So Tony has been doing martial arts most of my life. Since I was 10, I've studied like 5 different types of martial arts. So I also grew up being a huge fan of old school kung fu movies, and Atlas is really based off of Gordon Liu, who is one of the masters of the old school kung fu film. You may know him as Johnny Mo from Kill Bill. Some of his films are Shaolin versus Wu Tang, Into the 36 Chambers. Like Atlas is very much based off of that old school kung fu wuxia film. So it's Gordon Liu with a little Michelle Yeoh thrown in there, and just a touch of maybe some Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. But wuxia was very much a big factor in how I play Atlas. He is very high flying, jumping, bouncing, with the weapons and all of that. And all of the weapons that he uses are all the weapons that I can use, short of the whip. I cannot use a whip.
Whips are hard.
They are hard.
And you can hurt yourself with those.
Yeah, you can.
Ugh.
But spear, staff, sword, like those are all traditional weapons that are used in old school wuxia films and Shaolin monks. So that's very much where he comes from.
I understood some of those words.
So cool.
Same.
Recommended watching Shaolin and Wu Tang, Into the 36 Chambers, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Yeah, if you want more, just hit me up. I'm more than willing to talk about those.
And after you do, why don't you head to our merch store and check out the new Atlas t-shirt. We have 3 new shirts. 2 of them say "Don't monk shit." One of them says, one of them is for Salix, and one of them is for Atlas. And the 3rd shirt is actually, I'm most proud of this shirt. I've never done anything so beautiful in my life. It is the Afterlife Arcanist shirt featuring Alexander from the beautiful art of Ioana Murison.
Thank you.
I want to own all of those shirts.
Right?
Right?
Let's see. Oh man, this question list is looking a little anemic. All right. Camille,
Yeez.
there were a lot of questions for you.
Oh gosh.
Which of your NPCs, and I feel like we asked this, I feel like I've heard this one a couple times, but which of your NPCs do you like playing the most? Excluding Zytheria and Oreo.
Q.
Called it.
We should have said no to that one too.
I
right?
know.
After Q, Sura.
It's hard to say that because she has too many good NPCs.
I
Yeah.
know they're all
All-
amazing.
So it's her. Whatever.
We need more Q.
Right?
We did need
more
more
Q.
Q.
Y'all call up Lee. By the way, Lee's
Okay.
birthday was yesterday, so I highly recommend everybody message him and say happy birthday.
Okay.
Happy birthday. You know who else's birthday was yesterday?
Lady Dame.
You know, I heard that. So yeah. You know what? Let's have a fun question.
Oh gosh.
Oh gosh. No, don't worry. This isn't out of the shitpost question list.
That's the bonus round.
Not yet.
Oh God.
This one is from Alex though.
Oh gosh, here we go. Oh, is this what I think it is? Go ahead.
I don't know.
Go ahead.
So you all step into the mirror dimension of Fate's Chosen and have to fight the evil opposite Fate's Chosen. What's your strategy? And would you have a difficult time attacking clones of your allies?
Let me answer that first because Kestra would get her ass kicked. The evil opposite clone of Kestra would be
Ooh.
a paladin of a dark god who fully embraces it and knows and utilizes all paladin things. She would get her ass kicked, just completely whipped.
Leona's already killed Kestra once.
That's true. That's true. You're right.
I don't
And this
think,
would be easier because this
Yeah,
one looks less like Kesra than Kesra.
yeah, Alexander wouldn't have a problem attacking.
Yeah.
As for strategy,
That's a good question.
Oof.
So
Uh,
Atlas would take out Leona and Alexander first. They're squishy
Yeah.
and they're magic users. They need to die first.
yeah. I think that Alexander would try and concentrate on lowering evil Atlas and evil Eldon's ability to do damage.
that's what. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think, yeah.
Which
How-
is interesting that it's like because that's what I was thinking. I was thinking Leona and Alexander would probably try to handle the more martially.
I think
But we
with the
would trade.
exception of, I think that the two Alexanders though might get into a counterspell duel to some extent.
The Leonas might end up involved in that duel.
Yeah.
Can we
So
counterspell your counterspell? Like counterspell your counterspell.
Yeah, that's. I'm not running that. That's not a fucking chance.
You just disable counterspells for that particular conflict.
I would love for chat to come up with the opposite of each of these characters, like Kate just
Yeah.
did for hers. Definitely pop into our Discord and in the general chat, or even in this chat, talk about who you think. Like, for example, I think Andrew just said the opposite of Leona is a warlock who has pledged herself to the Lord of the Abyss. I like that a lot.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense.
I think Beth actually said earlier the opposite of, because we had a similar question. Beth said that, or the opposite path Alexander would be like a really powerful cleric of Pelor or something like that.
Yeah.
What would opposite Eldon be?
What would opposite
I mean, he
Atlas
would just
be?
basically be a complete asshole who just kills indiscriminately.
Yeah.
I could see it. I could see be a rogue, like just like a
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it could almost be what Eldon could have been.
Yeah, that what he
Oh.
would have been if there wasn't the
Yeah, like you mentioned earlier.
hmm
See,
Atlas.
I
Would've
love
been a
how
bad
all of
dude.
you guys would I think genuinely stand a chance against your opposites. Like you could probably go toe to toe. Kestra's opposite is literally I'm you but stronger.
Yeah, that's
Like-
oof, ouch. That hurts
Yeah.
my heart.
Yeah, I'm the you that you're afraid to be. Fuck you,
Ooh,
bitch.
ah,
Wow, I didn't like that.
ooh, nope, nope.
Oh my
I
god!
think the only reason Leona might have trouble with other Leona is there is some level of reservation that evil Leona wouldn't have. I would 100% level wise, and I don't know what spells, who knows what, but if she can learn it, she definitely knows power word kill, 100%.
You know, I'm kind of thinking about it, and I know, Tony, you asked what Atlas's opposite would be. I almost want to say that an indiscriminately attacking, like, low wisdom barbarian would be like Atlas's
Oh.
shtick.
Oh,
Like just
That
the
could also be
complete
it.
polar opposite of that thoughtful
I can see
nature,
that.
just like
That
going
thoughtful,
nuts
acrobatic-
at someone.
Pure
Just-
rage.
So I think,
clumsy, swinging.
well,
like a
it's interesting
Goliath.
here because we're getting into like what is the opposite of your character, not what is the evil version of your character.
Yeah,
That's fair.
that's
Yeah.
why. Yeah,
It's
that's
mean,
why I
hard.
think
If we just go like
Eldon's-
straight evil version of Alexander, I mean, he's a fucking
A lich.
vampire or a lich, one of the
He's
two.
going for-
I mean, mine would definitely. I think Leona's would be someone who actually. I don't know. She
Embraces
is.
the
I mean,
Bard of
embraces
College
the
of Secrets.
Like,
yeah,
Ooh,
I
yeah.
mean, she's
College of Whispers. Yeah.
she's
Who's
already
the opposite
that,
of-
but that's not. She just would be one that embraces it and
Mhm.
actually uses it.
Yeah.
Who's the opposite of Pelor?
Asmodeus.
Asmodeus,
Zahir.
probably.
Oh, Zahir. It's Zahir. Yeah. Not that
That's-
we've done research or anything. It's fine.
That's who she would be a paladin of.
Zahir, the god of darkness and secrets and assassins. Not secrets, the god of darkness and assassins.
Yep.
Great question.
And this was a fun question. I liked it.
Was it? Yeah.
What's next, Ren?
So you said that was fun, and we got deep with it.
That was
love
a
it,
fun
I love
question.
it.
Here's another fun question, since we liked the last one so much. Actually, I feel like this probably belongs more in the shit posty questions.
God.
But Mindy, why is Leona the secret big bad endgame boss, and why does she want to destroy the world?
spoilers. So Leona,
The true BBEG.
the true BBEG, has been hurt, has been manipulated, and sometimes you just need to know what it feels like to be on the other end.
Alternatively, Leona was switched to birth by a doppelganger. And maybe not at birth, but from a young age. And the real Leona is actually in the Hells with the Empress. Y'all will find her. And that's when you'll have to face Leona as the BBEG.
Or other options.
Sure.
Can we not? Can we not do that?
Oh shit.
Honestly, I will say this because y'all know I never shy away from talking, saying nice things about Mindy. If anybody could do it, it would be Mindy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason that it started as a rumor.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Let's take a look at some of these other questions I got here. Man, I just got all of these. Well, they're all mostly any and all at this point, but let's pose this question. You know, I don't dig the way it was asked, but there could be some good guts to this one. This one's from Quan Jarlos. What's the biggest character choice that you regret, and what might you have changed to make the alteration to your satisfaction?
So, I'll just, before we get started this question, something that we do at the end of every session is call-outs, where we talk about anything that we're vulnerable about in the session. And so a lot of these kinds of things, I think that, first of all, my suspicion is that my players are going to have a hard time figuring out things that they regret. My second suspicion is that, or my second comment is that if you find yourself in a D&D game where you're making choices that you don't like, or you find yourself being vulnerable, don't be afraid to bring those up with your fellow players and your DM.
I like that.
I'll go ahead and start because Kestra's done a lot of things that I regret. I've done a lot of things as Kestra that I regret as a person, as a player, but I would not change any of them. I regret yelling at the Sunday Friends right after Salix came back to life. I regret some of the things that she said to people. I regret some of the actions that she's taken or not taken. I forget a lot of them, but that's me as a player, and unfortunately my character's an asshole. So I don't think I would actually. I might change my phrasing in a couple of things, but I don't think I would change any of the things that happened.
I feel the same way. I don't think I regret any choices I've made as Eldon. Eldon has regrets about a couple of things. And it's funny, all of his regrets are pre-joining Fate's Chosen. But I don't regret anything I've done with him. Any choices I've made yet.
So mine isn't so much of a regret of anything that I have had Alexander do, per se. I think the thing that I regret most about Alexander is actually that he's a necromancer. It's the thing that I love so much about him, but when I built him, I didn't really think of the ramifications on the DM and myself of having a character that can spawn like up to 10 more action economy characters in any fight. and then those characters either being utterly worthless because we're in a big fight and they just can't hit and they go down really easily, or they or they're just like they just take up so much time, which is partial of one of the things I most like about that I've done with Alexander is that I have not had him raise dead very often. He shies away from that and is concentrated more on the soul aspects of necromancy and less on the, hey, let's make an army.
Yeah. Massive shout out to you, Morgan, for making my life easier.
Anyone else?
Go ahead.
I have no regrets for Atlas or any of the things he's done or said.
Not a single letter?
Nope.
I think I still, I mean, I have moments where I feel vulnerable about decisions that I've made. But I feel like, and this is, I mean, I feel like we find this often to be true. Those things we feel vulnerable about, usually the things that everyone else is like, no, that was really great. It was just hard. But there is still the one thing that will always bother me is the very first, it was the second session. Very second session in the whole campaign. It was the first interaction that Leona had with, well, now we know her to be her mom. She didn't know it was her mom at the time, but the way that I guess that's not, I don't know. That's more of a player regret than a character choice regret.
What's the player regret?
The player regret is that at that point in time, Mindy had some inkling that Roman was not who Leona thought he was. But Leona didn't. Leona was straight up thinking she was going to marry, have all the babies, and be this sweet little wife forever. And the distrust that she showed didn't make sense for her. It is my one regret as a player.
And I always counter that with, I think it made sense. But I will also add, I want to add for anybody watching that the relationship between Roman and Leona was highly discussed before the campaign. Mindy
Yes.
knew the extent of what it would be like. She understood that Roman was not a good guy. I, as a DM, never recommend springing a bad relationship on somebody.
No, it was thoroughly discussed.
Mm-hmm.
When I say I wasn't, Mindy knew more. It was
Mindy knew everything.
Mindy knew everything, and that made it hard for me.
Yeah.
I got better at it, but those things were very clearly discussed.
Yeah, especially considering you never know someone's romantic background history or romantic history, and so that was something that we actually had planned on going even deeper into, was Roman and Kestra's relationship, and we were prepared to Roman and Leona's relationship, and we were prepared to kind of like come with disclaimers of like, hey, this episode might contain some abusive relationship issues, so have that as a trigger warning for you. But we ended up not going that route. But it's important to say that. So I might do that with Mindy. Sorry, Mindy.
No, I was gonna say, and I want to point out that, Camille said something along the lines of, you don't know that person's background, and I will say Camille and I are best friends, so she knows my background, and we still had those conversations.
Yes, yeah, and that was important. I might even I might do that to Leona now because Mindy and I have a very, very, very close trust. We've been playing together for a long time, but I would never do that I never recommend anybody do that. I always recommend y'all have that conversation. So that's important to me, and I wanted y'all to know.
Multiple conversations.
Oh yeah.
A continuous conversation.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna swing on the back of that. I think the fact that none of us really have any character regrets or really any player regrets is because as a group we discuss so much, and because we discuss so much there is a lot of trust there. Like several of us, gave Camille completely blank slates for our backstories. I gave her a brief outline personally of things, and everything she's always asked me, she's like, how would you feel if this happened? How would you feel if this happened? What about this? Always like multiple things, so I didn't spoil the story, but it's important to have those conversations, because when you have those conversations, even the things that seem iffy initially, you trust that it I can't, my words aren't working.
No, I think we understand. I will say I'm not perfect, and I've even had misunderstandings with my player. Like, Kate and I had a misunderstanding where we did not apparently agree on the situation in which Kessera was raised.
Fine.
Kate thought that she'd been raised in an orphanage, and I was like, no, Kessera was not up for adoption. That was not allowed. So
yeah, it was the same scenario. It was just, Kessler and Camille had no adoption. I had possibility of adoption, but it never happened for obvious reasons, and that,
So
but
so it's not always perfect, but we do try.
There's a lot of trust here, and it makes it easy to make mistakes and then feel okay about them afterwards.
Yes.
And I will say the trust is a byproduct of that communication. The trust is a byproduct of really just being open to listen.
It didn't just happen.
No.
This was something that Camille was very intentional about, even from the very beginning, even from well before the campaign actually started. And that, like I said, that communication has never stopped. It is ongoing conversations, check-ins, and that.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the reasons we have as much fun as we do.
Yeah, like Kate said, I had a completely blank slate background. No clue. I think I'd already played several sessions before I'm like, what's Grassgrave like? So yeah, it's and that whole flashback episode was pretty much a blindside on me. Like, I had no idea what to expect, and it was wonderful and it was perfect. But she always checked, do you trust me to do a thing? And is this okay? Without spoiling anything, she's always, I want to do a thing. I have an idea. Is this okay?
And that takes practice. If I was less experienced, I would just ask Eldon and be like, are you okay with X? And Than actually, I'll say my players are very good at telling me what they're not okay with. Like, Than's come to me with a couple times and been like, hey, I'm not okay with this direction. Like, not what was happening, but like, if it goes this direction, I'm not cool with that. And that's
one fork I'd like to stay away from.
Yep. Yeah. And I've had to do that as a player myself. So sorry for that side tangent. My apologies. But I feel like this is the kind of stuff that's really important to me.
It's the part that makes this the best experience I've had.
I agree.
I agree 100%. If I could just add a little something to that. Like, I've been playing for like 19 years now, and Camille is by far one of the best DMs I have ever played with. And I tell her this all of the time. Don't you hide. You stand up and enjoy this. And just the amount of purchase and leeway she gives her characters, but also how she works with them to give them backstory and life. Like, I was supposed to be a guest and be there for like 4 sessions, and 4 months later, I'm still here. And
we just can't get rid of
Morgan knows that life.
Yeah.
I just got so emotionally invested.
He keeps showing up.
And the game and the character, and a lot of that is Camille and the world that she's built and the playground that she gives us to run in. So
y'all don't give yourselves enough credit, but that's all I'll say about that.
Okay, I'm done now.
Thank y'all. Y'all are very
having
sweet.
Call-outs in the middle of.
We are. This is what a call-out's like.
This is what we do after
I essentially ran some call-outs for Sunday Friends last time I did their 4th watch, so it's fine. It's a natural thing. It just happens on Open for Adventure.
Well,
we all have a lot of feelings about each other. Okay.
That's a hard question to pose, though, because it hurts to think about like what choices you don't like. So, and that's kind of crummy. So, I want to shift to a more positive question for y'all and say, what the hell is your favorite character or roleplay moment that you've had to date? Whether that be for you or for a scene that you're involved in.
I have one immediately.
I have one after Eldon. After Than.
my conversation at the end of my flashback with my foster mom. That whole scene was my favorite moment. It was heartbreaking and beautiful and all ad-libbed on my... I had no clue that was going into that.
You and Mindy both. Mindy was just given that character that day.
Yeah. And I think that was some of the best, most compelling stuff I've done. And Mindy was perfect opposite me on that in that scene. I loved it. I've watched it several times. I love it.
It was very good.
My favorite moment to this day has still been the Atlas talk with Kesra in the bar. That was just so much fun for me. Sorry, Kate.
The
But yeah,
tension in that scene.
Oh, yeah, that was my best. That was my best moment, or my favorite moment, I would say, at least. Maybe not my best moment, but definitely my favorite moment.
I don't know.
I think that my favorite moment was nearing the end of my first stint as a guest on Open for Adventure, and we were all relaxing in a bar, and it was when I came up with, because Kessler had been giving everybody nicknames, diminutive nicknames, and it was when I came up with Kesra's nickname of Dimples.
She doesn't have dimples on her face.
Yeah. And just I loved it so much because I got to, because I told Kate because I wanted to make sure that it was okay with her.
He did.
But I didn't tell anybody else in the group. And so watching everybody's faces, they're like, wait, was he referring to Kesra?
We have some great art of that moment. We do.
So good. So good. I have a lot of favorites.
I have a favorite, and then I think I have my best role play was not my favorite role play.
Okay.
My favorite moment.
Let's have them
Can I
both.
share both?
Yeah.
Is that cheating? I've done a lot on this stream. I don't know. I've been here a long time. I feel old. Favorite, definitely the drug deal. I felt like such a badass. I felt like Leona, as sick as she felt, as terrible as I really enjoyed that moment because it showed what Leona is capable of, even though she chooses not to. And I loved that. Best RP moment scene, when Leona was shot with the thing and I was crazy.
Yeah, that was some good shit right there.
I was confused about everything.
That drug deal is seriously a big check mark in the BBEG column.
Is it?
Just saying.
It was so good. I really liked taking 2 hours to summon Red. I really enjoyed that. I was caught off guard with how long Camille let me ramble. I kept looking at her, waiting for her to like take a breath, signal that like maybe the scene was over. Nope. She let me keep going. I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the most recent scene with Ray. That conversation. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of things, and it's very hard for me to pinpoint specifically what I really enjoyed, because I also like the conversation with Alexander about emotions and our relationship and things like I don't know. We could talk about a lot of things.
We do a lot of RP on this great little adventure we're on.
Can I answer as well? I think some of my favorite moments have come out of consequences that my players weren't expecting. I think a lot about the Ektiarn plot, about how he became involved in something that wasn't really his business and he ended up dying for it. I think about the scenes where he is revealing. Anytime an NPC is revealing something to a player when the players think they have it figured out and they don't have a clue, because they didn't investigate, right? Or they didn't have faith in their god, or they didn't have faith in their partner. They didn't check or ask, or there's just something that they left out, or the poor decision that they made, a decision that they knew would have consequences, and then that came back to bite them. Like Deirdre knew that ratting on Vecna would have consequences, and she did it anyway. So I think I'm not out to punish my players, but I am married to the story. The story is going to have justice, and that's kind of an aspect of life. Of all of our decisions have consequences. So it's been an interesting ride to see how my players' choices have shaped the world and set the world up for what they are doing now and what they will continue to do.
I'm a little scared because Kestra still has a lot of atoning to do for some pretty big things. I mean, I'm going to enjoy it, but I'm also terrified.
Do you think Kesra understands exactly why Paylor is so angry?
I'm sure part of her does.
Do you think she understands the significance of a sentry?
I think she's getting there.
Okay.
She's a lot smarter than she lets herself be.
Yeah.
There's a lot of willful ignorance there. And I think she's getting there. I do. Slowly but surely. So fucking slowly. But surely.
That's it. That's all I got.
Oh, I did like making Camille think that I cried during the well. The Well of Wonder.
Yeah.
When you revealed who I was, and I made you guys think that I, like, cried.
I liked that one time I did cry.
The
You
one
made-
time. The one time. Yeah.
Just one.
That one session. That one time.
You know what? I really liked the scene where Areo reveals to the party that he is the crown prince, and that we found out that Leona knew pretty early, or a little bit earlier on. That was fun. All right, I need that gift, please. Andrew,
Yep.
please
Andrew.
go check out the last 30
Love
seconds from Kate's camera. Thank you. All right, we're good. That's it.
We're doing great. We're doing
Edison
great.
fell off the bed.
Oh, all right. Okay. This is good. This is great. A fun question. Now that we've had some heavy one, you're tasked with choosing a dragon form for your character. The original question said for a lot of people. I'm just going to say for your character. What kind of dragon does your character turn into?
Areo is a golden dragon. Areo literally
Why?
means golden.
Silver for Alexander.
Bear with me here. I think Kesra is a gold dragon trying to be a bronze. Trying to be a lizard, trying to be... She's
not a dragon, she's just a lizard.
I'm a really weird lizard folk, it's fine.
She's just wandering around with other lizards. I fit in.
No, I think she deliberately like tries to muddy and mar her scales so they don't look like the way they actually are.
Can I be a rainbow dragon? I don't have to have any fancy color, powers with the color. I just want to have multiple colors. Or I guess I could be blue and match my dress.
So you're saying you want to be Tiamat?
Tiamat?
BBT!
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
There we go!
There it is!
We figured it out!
Okay, you figured me out.
I have no idea.
Atlas is a brass dragon, by the way.
Yeah, see that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know enough about them to answer this question without reading.
I know the
Eldon?
answer.
Tell me what I am.
He's
Oh.
a bronze dragon.
Eldon would be a
Bronze?
bronze dragon. Yeah.
Eldon's a bronze
They have a
dragon.
repulsion breath. Yeah.
What
that
are you trying to
like-
say? Oh
Yeah.
yeah, bronze. Yeah, I just read the very first haven't even reached a comma. Duty bound and honorable to a fault. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Browns. Yeah.
So
That's
if
dragon.
I'm Tiamat, can I make two of the heads like there's like ice and fire, right?
Now, Kith.
Oh no, I was gonna have them. I was gonna have them like when you like mix. Oh no, that's not fire. That's light. Never mind. I just wanted to make a rainbow. It's fine.
Oh, bless.
Fine. I know how stuff works. I don't even know what science that is. Chemistry?
Oh, goodness. Eldon, I have a very important question for you.
Hit me.
Well, Than, I should say.
Okay. Don't hit me.
Than is Eldon. Do you think putting chips in your sandwich is a crime?
No, it's delicious.
If you answer yes, you're wrong. Discuss.
Cool. So I said no, so I'm right. It's not a crime. It's not a crime. It's preferable.
Good. Great. The shitpost question was brought to you by Alex. Oh man, I think I'm running low on questions here right now.
Bring on the
Okay,
shitpost.
I ask a question that I saw somebody
Go ahead.
pose earlier in
Yeah.
the chat.
Oh yeah.
If everybody
Good
had to
catch.
pick a real life actor to play their character, who would you choose?
Henry
Tom
Cable
Hardy.
Henry Cable for Areo.
I already knew
That's
Areo.
really good. Yeah.
That literally it's
That's
fine.
literally was his
That's
character
literally
face.
was his
Yeah.
character face.
Yeah. Tom Hardy. I based all of his look off. of Tom
Ah,
Hardy.
yes.
So I based Alexander kind of on like a young Brad Pitt, but I think Taron Egerton
that?
would also work really well.
I don't know who that is.
He's good.
Who is that? I don't know.
What's that name? Say it again.
Taron Egerton,
He's Kingsman, right?
he's in Kingsman. Yeah, he's the lead in Kingsman.
Okay, thank you.
and-
I don't know actors' names. I need
He would
the
be good. He'd
Yes.
be really good.
He'd be
Yeah.
a real good Alexander.
Initially, Stephanie Beatrice would be an amazing Kestra, I think. Her initial personality is based off a lot of her character in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. She plays Rosa.
Yep.
That's a lot of Kestra's. That's who Kestra wants to be, is Rosa Diaz. That's who she would want to be. She's not that cool. But someone, my brother, suggested Emily Blunt, and I think Emily Blunt would be pretty. Think Edge of Tomorrow. Emily
Yeah,
Blunt?
that's what. As soon as you said Emily Blunt, that's what I
Mm.
thought of her Edge of Tomorrow character.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think that she would be a really good Kestra. So.
Go ahead.
My God, Taldot.
Did you, Tony?
So
Michael B. Jordan. For
yeah,
Atlas.
yes.
Yeah.
Hell
So
yes.
Taldoz just
Oh.
said Tom Hiddleston is Roman. The character one of the characters I based Roman off of, like the actual person named Roman Kentigern, who is an actual NPC on Harry Potter Haven. His character face is Tom Hiddleston. That's fucking creepy.
Yes.
Damn. Hot damn.
Leona would be Kristen Bell
Yeah, I like it. I love that.
from Frozen.
I love her so much.
Yeah,
You mean Veronica Mars?
Who would play Camille in
Oh.
the Lifetime movie of Open for Adventure?
Camille.
Camille.
Nobody else could play Camille.
Whatever.
Maybe Anna Kendrick?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Holy
Done.
crap. Yes.
Yeah, Anna Kendrick.
Amelia Clark. Ah! Don't tell me that. I love her. Okay,
Yeah,
anyway.
Don't tell her that.
Baka! Okay, sorry. That's it. That's my question. Any other players have any pressing questions?
Did we level up?
No.
Also, why are you guys awesome? It's a serious question.
Speak for yourself.
I'm not speaking about myself, so you guys.
I have another question. Okay. If you had to start all over from the very beginning with a new character in this campaign, for me as the DM in this world, not with the same players. If you had to start over a new campaign with me as your DM, who would you play?
Rogue. Ooh, know what? No. I just created a Protector Asimar Warlock of the Celestial.
Mm-hmm.
And I played it in a one-shot the other night, and I'm in love with it, and I would play that.
So when we went into the Wizard's Tower, I may have already made another character just in case. And it is a Genasi Ranger Rogue.
Love Ranger Rogues.
I've also got a Halfling Wizard who's a bit of an asshole.
My favorite character I ever played was a Ranger Rogue. I loved her. It was, so much
I'm
fun.
all about Rangers and Rogues.
Fate's Benchwarmers. Get out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yep.
Oh, go ahead, Kate. I'm still.
No. You're still thinking? Then I will give you time
I'm
to
still
think.
I
I have an emotional support character that I have built up for this, for when this campaign ends, because I'm not ready for it to. I don't want to think about it. So I have a halfling wizard, an illusion halfling wizard, who is going to be so fucking nosy, because Kestra can't ask a damn question to save her fucking life. So I need to have a character that asks questions so I learn more things, because Camille has amazing things and I want to know all of them. But yeah, no, she's an illusion wizard who works for the Thieves Guild. So
I also have a emotional support character.
When they mean
that-
emotional support character, this is a character that they are trying to fall in love with, or creating to fall in love with, so that the
So that
heartbreak
when-
of this campaign ending
yes.
does not hurt so
Yes.
much.
exactly.
And on the off chance that this character does get used, I'll say monk. Asimar monk. Camille knows.
I don't know. I've got a lot of characters I'm playing, but I don't have any in the wings really right now. I mean, I have the other character that I was considering playing in this campaign. When I first started guesting, I kind of shot two ideas over to Camille, but it's still kind of similar to Alexander, but it's the shadow realm sorcerer, and he was going to be a shadow kai, so a devotee of the Raven Queen from the what's its place, and Shadowfell, and they were going to be a little more stranger in a strange land, and a little more nosy, because they're just like, they got like a little device that they were going to be using to like, yeah, I'm here to collect. They're definitely going to be very kind of nihilistic. It's like, I'm here to collect souls for the Raven Queen, like, and like, or interesting memories. Like, oh, you really don't like that memory? Let me take that from you.
Ooh.
So yeah.
I gotta say, if I didn't play this wizard, I made the wizard because wizards are squishy inherently, and I've never played a squishy character, and so I'm going to challenge myself mechanically to play a squishy character because I hate it. But if I didn't play a wizard, I would probably play a cleric.
Clerics are the
Because-
best.
Well, specifically because it's Camille's campaign, and Camille has always done relationships with deities and higher powers exceptionally well. And so my last character I played with her had a semi non-existent relationship with her patron. It was there, but it was very much a, like, every 2 years, hey, go do this thing for me, and then radio silence kind of thing, which suits perfectly well. And now I'm playing a character that is aggressively trying to not make it happen. So I would love to play a character with Camille as the DM that does actively enjoy a relationship with a deity of some sort. Because I see you do it with Mindy, and I see you do it with other people, and I get really jealous. I'm gonna be very honest. So if I don't play the halfling wizard, I'm gonna play some kind of cleric, because I would like to explore that.
It is hard
Fair.
to play a character that has a relationship with a patron or a god with a DM who does not incorporate that into your story.
Reach
I
that.
there's a
hard.
reason I don't play warlocks.
There's a reason I would only play a warlock for you.
Mindy, you flatter me. But yeah, I particularly enjoy exploring that, and not a lot of DMs do, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not for every DM.
Those kinds of relationships take a lot of trust.
Yeah, they do.
I feel like because they're such a big part of the character, there's a lot of...
And if you're a new DM, sometimes it's just hard enough to know what you're gonna do that day during a session. So
It's funny because like the only way I would play that warlock is the Celestial Pact warlock, because I don't find playing bad or evil fun in any way. And
warlocks don't have to be bad or evil.
Mm-mm. Andy is not evil.
that's where I would end up with it if I
In
did
any way.
it though. And so I
Sometimes it just happens.
Yeah.
All right, friends. It's 9:33. It's bedtime. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with us during this very full session of Fourth Watch. I know what this show's called. Ren, thank you so much for moderating and delegating and picking our questions. You're a spectacular human being. Grave clerics are the best clerics. Fight me. Anyway, yeah. So I think that's gonna be it for today.